Idle, diddle, diddle, idle, diddle, diddle. Lock 'em, lack 'em, spluckers.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the second official GameAnyone.com podcast. I am Dave the Usher, and I am joined by some special Game Anyone guys, Scorch82, Shadow Zach, and Volvagia. How you guys doing?
Doing good. Good to be here.
Doing great.
Awesome stuff, man. So this is our second podcast. Isn't it great? Isn't it great?
This fantastic.
Everybody's been waiting for it. And this is Scorch's first podcast, and it's great that we finally got this guy to join us. Scorch, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good. It's good to be here. Too bad I missed the last one. I was well involved behind the scenes in that one, so it was kind of good to hear it go up and be like, man, I wish I could have been there. I could have been there.
Wish I could have.
But yeah, so let's see. I should probably cover a little bit about who I am and what I do.
Yeah, Scorch,
why
fill
I
us
do
in.
it. Fill you in. Well,
Who is Scorch?
I'm pretty much awesome in all respects. So that's a good thing to know.
Get in it right there.
Yeah, I know. I started doing recordings probably about, I would say it was June of last year. I had been watching I started watching videos on YouTube, like speed runs from old NES games that I could never finish. And I don't know, I was looking for stuff like, I got tired of speed runs, and I was looking for like what people called long plays, where they just play the game like all the way through and don't use like hacks or glitches or whatever. And then having looked through that, I ran across something called a Let's Play. So if anybody doesn't know what a Let's Play is, it's basically like a long play, but only it has the person narrating as they play over the game. And there was one user in particular on YouTube that inspired me to start getting some of this stuff and recording gameplays, and that was WC10K. His are really down to earth. He doesn't have like overly professionalized videos. His voice is just it's really good for what would have been considered like radio or something. So I'm like, he does it really well. I'll bet I could do this too. So I just started Googling for stuff, tutorials, looking on YouTube for things that people had advice on, and just asked the questions, trial and error, figured it out, and here we are. So
Here we are.
year and some later, I've amassed quite a following, it sounds like. So
That's awesome, man.
I know, it's good times. I had a lot of fun.
Well, that kind of shows what you've been up to on YouTube. How did you get involved with GameAnyone.com?
Well, GameAnyone.com kind of threatened to murder my children if I didn't join the site. I mean, it was really kind of like one of those hostile takeovers. He just rolled in and he's like, listen, you join the site or we'll kill you. We'll kill all of your family. And I'm like, yeah, okay. But,
Nice.
in all honesty, none of that ever happened. So I think I actually got a friend invite from Mace Man
From Mace,
on YouTube. And he mentioned something about it, but I usually don't pay attention to the stuff when people like advertise to me. So I'm like, whatever. And then I used to listen to Dave's videos quite a lot. I mean, I still do, but when he first started plugging GameAnyone.com in his audio marks, I was like, what the hell is he talking about? So I went to the site to figure out, what is it that, they've offered him to get him to, change his videos, because he didn't strike me as the person that would, alter what he did at the request of someone else. So I figured it was a big deal.
I still consider myself a part-timer. I'm here to contribute.
Yeah, I think that's what everybody should feel like. It's not like a full-time job, and if you treat it like one, then all you're going to do is get yourself pissed off. But I checked it out, I joined, and I've managed to, over the course of a few months, work myself up to administrator by just helping out with code for the site, and I would, do moderation stuff. I provide a decent product, just work my way up there.
Yeah, you do a lot of coding for the site to improve it, make it look better, add new features.
Yeah, and it's all free of charge. Can you believe it?
You recently added some new features the other day. You want to talk about those?
Yeah, we can cover those briefly. I mean, we've been adding stuff, piecemeal here and there to try and improve the site, how it functions. You know, keeping up with the Joneses, basically. The most recent thing, and probably something that we should have had for a while, is the ability to block users from bugging the shit out of you, basically. YouTube has had that feature where if somebody's pestering you, you can just be like, whatever, and block them so they can't harass you anymore. But we had heard complaints from many people that did that, you know, so-called trolls could come back to your videos and like downrate them because blocking doesn't prevent ratings.
Yeah.
So we took that and went one step further and, you know, just implemented that so that we wouldn't have to resort to just banning people from the site.
That's right, baby. Scorch is taking what YouTube made and making it better. He's improving.
One way or another, I think so.
And also, Scorch is not the only GameAnyone.com crew with us. We also have Volvagia, who is a global moderator.
Yep.
And Volv does lots of work on the site, basically helping out the message board and things like that.
I help.
You're also into design too, aren't you?
Well, yeah, but I haven't really done much lately. We're still in the process of finding ways to improve things still. So,
Yeah.
what you see in the site currently is such a beta form, but it's been there for like a year, and we really haven't came up with the final version yet. So, it's probably something that'll happen within the next year,
Awesome.
hopefully.
Good
That's
stuff.
basically just Mace Man and I doing code as we find time to do it. So, you know, things move slowly because, you know, we all have personal lives and everyone gets lazy, you know.
So what do you say, guys? How about we go over our current and future projects that the four of us are currently working on and planning on coming up with? Why don't you take us off, Scorch?
Let's see, what am I working on now? So currently I'm working on Titan Quest Immortal Throne for the PC, Prototype for PS3. I recently just picked up Illusion of Gaia for the Super NES. And then I've been working on this one forever for the PlayStation 1 is Vagrant Story. And I think that one I actually got into. Actually, you know what? Somebody just rang my doorbell. Why don't somebody else finish up? I'll pick this up.
Let me go see what he's doing and tell you about it.
Scorch was taken away from us. So, Zach, why don't you tell us about the current projects you're working on? I know you have a busy July yourself. And
July has been
busy
my
July.
busiest
Current
month
projects,
ever.
future projects, Zach. What do you got going on?
Current projects that I have actually started is Fuel, which is going to be my next really long-term project. There's just so much to do in that game. I just started Bionic Commando, but that'll be done within a couple days. And hold on. Oh,
Awesome.
Scorch is back. You wanna take it back for me, Scorch, or can I finish up?
That was unfortunate. I had a package that I was expecting delivered, and I didn't think it was going to come today.
Hey, well,
but-
you know, it's okay, man, because we live in the real world. We're not...
Where shit happens.
You know, we're not doing this for a living. This isn't professional, but it's a great hobby of ours, and we all like to do it, man. We like to be creative and play our favorite games, and I think people appreciate us for that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know, and
so-
I think the whole thing about it not being professional is something that a lot of people don't realize is that, you know, we try to do a job that stands above half the crap that we see out there already and, you know, make it look like we put some effort into it, but, you know, we really just put in our volunteered time to, you know, make these for you, so it's like, you know, what do people expect when you start putting these things up? It's something it can get under your skin real fast if you don't keep it in check.
So why
Okay,
don't you
where was
finish off your list for us?
Yeah, finish your
Yeah,
list
where
off.
was I was talking about Vagrant Story. I've been doing that one for, I don't know, the better part of 8 months now. It's one of those ones that I had played a lot when it came out and never finished it. Thought I could finish it. Got further than I ever did, and then just kind of lost steam because it got really hard, and I hadn't been there before. So it's like, well, shit, new stuff came out, so I started doing that. And as far as what I've been doing, I mean, I just try to make updates to the games that I feel like playing, you know, when it's time to record. So people always wonder, like, what order do you choose to play in? It's like, well, I gotta be in the mood. So I play what I'm in the mood for. I've recently started doing guest commentary, so you've probably heard a few walkthroughs with the Game Anyone crew. So that's always a little fun. You know, it adds a little.
Can we get T-shirts that say that? The Game Anyone crew.
Shit, man, that
We
should
can
be
get
like
bowling
instead
shirts.
Bowling shirts.
That's another thing people need to do. Buy our shirts.
That's right.
Buy our shirts. So as far as future projects, I don't really have anything, like, I have plenty of stuff in mind, like nothing major that I want to get into. I think I want to go back to sticking with some of the Super Nintendo games.
Old school.
The ones that are, old school. You know, the ones that I'm more used to. They're quicker. You know, it's not as much pressure from people that are just looking for new games. You know, there's always an unwritten rule in the Let's Play world, you know, quote unquote, that you don't do new games for Let's Plays, but I never did take to that because it's like, well, if people are going to watch the game, they're going to watch the game. It doesn't matter when it came out. So, I don't really want to spoil what I have for upcoming projects because I think that's part of the fun of, you know, watching these videos. You don't know what I'm going to do.
I agree.
So, you'll have to wait and see.
But back on to you, Zach. You were telling us about your projects. Why don't you finish that up for us?
All right, so I said Fuel. I started Bionic Commando. I finished most of Transformers. I didn't thinking about going back and doing the other campaign, but I don't know if I will or not. Future projects, there's so much to do because like July, which is hammered with new game releases for the PC. You got Overlord 2, Spore Galactic Adventures, Street Fighter 4.
Damn.
A bunch of games I've been playing, but I haven't actually recorded. There's just so many. Then you got all the stuff that comes out in the future. There's just so many new games coming out that
The list is long.
the list is long indeed.
You like to play the latest and current games that are just released currently, right?
Yeah, I try to get them out before they come out. Like
Zach
magic.
likes to get them out even before they're out, baby.
So yeah, that's what's going on with the world of Zach.
That's awesome, man. But Volvagia,
Mm-hmm.
you've been away currently. You've been out of the country and visiting America, so you haven't had a lot of time lately doing walkthroughs. But what have you been working on, and what are your future projects that you'd like to get into?
Working on. I still need to finish off Zelda, but I've had Lost in the Downs in progress for over 6 months now, and to be fair, the game is just so horrible, and the fact that the control scheme and the way that the plot is, it just puts me off actually finishing it, even though I have once already. It's staying on my computer most of the walkthrough, but uploading it is going to be a bit of a problem because the way that YouTube deletes things now. Like, you know how the copyright scheme and like Take-Two is a bitch and delete videos and that kind of thing. I highly doubt that I can get around every single little problem with that, so it's probably not going to get complete. However, when future projects come along, I'm actually thinking about doing older stuff myself. Mainly N64 games because of the fact that I grew up with an N64 from the ages of like 5 to 10, 11, so I've got a lot of experience and a lot of good memories with the N64, and I'm thinking about playing quite a few games, mainly Donkey Kong 64 and like Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, and maybe Mario eventually, probably not for like a year or so, but yeah. Very much just the N64 in the moment, or even some PlayStation games, perhaps Crash Bandicoot or Spyro, but for now, I just want to stick to the old stuff because I'm really tired of dealing with copyright issues when it comes to YouTube.
Yeah, but you got a lot of N64 stuff you planning on doing. That's cool.
Yeah.
Now,
So,
for me
Dave.
personally, current projects, I've been working on Final Fantasy IX still just for a long time. It's been like I think 3 months now. That is it's a really long game, but to kind of pick up the slack, I've been doing a lot of small little games. Some of you might have noticed I've been doing a lot of Atari games, which have been a lot of fun, and these Atari games, man, they don't make any sense. Like Ninja Golf. You guys check that out, Ninja Golf.
Ninja Golf.
I think that was really characteristic of Atari, though, just because of the limitations that you had with such a system. You
That's
had to have wacky, harebrained ideas.
And the tooth game where you have to protect your teeth from the snack attack monsters.
Hey, man, dental hygiene is important.
It is, it is.
The
Johnson-
Beefsteak
Johnson
Tomato.
was saying.
That was a weird game to be played.
Oh, yeah. And of course,
They're all
Custer's
very
Revenge.
Similar. They're
How
all
about
really
Custer's
similar to other
Revenge,
games.
guys?
Custer's Revenge.
Custer's Revenge. I don't think anything like that nowadays would ever get published.
Yeah,
Well,
like,
nowadays you can find it in a lot of new gen games
It
just
was
because of the
pretty-
graphics design.
it was pretty crazy.
Pretty close.
But, yeah, and also the Monopoly game we're currently doing. That's been a lot of fun to play the Monopoly with you and with you, Zach, and you, Volv. And Scorch was
Yeah.
there, too.
Yeah.
Scorch joined us.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we like to do that basically off the clock, and we were thinking, hey, we might as well, do a game replay, a recording of this, too, and throw that up on the internet. Why the hell
we,
not?
did, we did that like a couple of times a week when we're bored and we've got nothing really to do or just uploading stuff, so...
That's
Couple
just
right.
a
times a
hobby.
week? You mean like 5 times a day?
Yeah, but you
So-
don't.
That's actually pretty good, though, that you guys, played it so much off the clock, because then it didn't make the walkthrough seem like you guys were figuring stuff out. I mean, there's walkthroughs where figuring stuff out along the way is good, and then there's times where it's not.
Yeah,
So,
I
that's,
agree.
That's a good way to balance the mix, especially with Zach being the one to play games, before they come out, so to speak. There's oftentimes a lot of, you don't always know what you're doing. So
Nope. I always say that in my first video. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm figuring it out as I go along. You guys are
Yeah.
welcome to come on the ride.
But some games are better designed for stuff like that, and some of them aren't. So, you got to know.
Yeah. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of Atari games. In the future, a couple future projects I'll get into. I hope to keep on doing some short Atari games. I always find that they're fun. Another big one that I want to do after I finish Final Fantasy IX is Mario 64. That game is just, fun as hell, of course, and, I'd love to play that one. And I haven't done any Nintendo 64 stuff yet, so, that'll be a lot of fun. I think I want to do another one of those Atari porn games. I got one in mind. What do you guys think about that?
18 and over.
There was a co-commentate on that was a bunch of hookers.
Yeah, I think maybe I'll get you guys in on that one. And also, in a couple of weeks, I have a walkthrough I plan on putting up, but I'm keeping a lid on it. It's top secret. I'm not giving away the title,
So
but
I know what
I'm
it
really
is.
looking forward to play it. It's awesome stuff. It's a pretty short game, but it's awesome.
Good times.
Awesome.
Good
man.
times. Eating good in the neighborhood.
Earlier, Scorch, you were kind of saying how because of YouTube pulling videos, it's kind of taking away from the whole Let's Player community, and it's basically making things not as fun anymore, right?
Well, yeah, you could say that. I mean, basically, if you're involved in this type of hobby at all, you notice that there are people on YouTube that have ungodly amounts of subscribers for what looks to be not very decent video content, and then there are people that are just now starting up doing this kind of stuff that don't have any subscribers that have fairly good video content. And this is, partly because the whole recording gameplay, walkthroughs, let's plays, narrating, all that stuff. It's been around for 2-3 years now, and people have had their time to get their feet in the sand here, establish themselves, get a good subscriber base, and a lot of people are not only finding it hard to get their content noticed because of copyrights and things getting pulled because for whatever reason it's not and there's always a gray area with stuff like this. It's not always allowed, or I'm trying to think of the word. People aren't always so willing to have their stuff shown on the internet, in video format.
Right.
The legality of the content.
Yeah, you know, like Grand Theft Auto 4 is a big one because of Take-Two supposedly not wanting their shit on the internet.
Well, I'm just going to say, devil's advocate, if you ever read that little fine print at the start, it says they own all the content that you produce.
Basically.
Yeah,
You know.
like I've been into that stuff many times.
There's been a lot of members who have had their accounts closed, and they've done some original, funny, creative type things. And because of sites like GameAnyone.com, it's kind of creating a new, a new atmosphere for game walkthroughers to come to our site, put their stuff on GameAnyone.com without having a real fear of it being taken down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like a seamless transition. You know what I was saying with people getting started now is they're finding it really hard to get themselves established, especially with like big name walkthroughers that may or may not have been suspended for whatever reason. Lose all their subscribers and have to start over. They're finding it really difficult to get themselves noticed amongst all the people that are still there and popular and putting stuff out. So with YouTube kind of behaving that way, GameAnyone.com has sort of had to take on a task to evolve to make it more appealing to come to our site rather than to stay on YouTube and deal with whatever it is that they've got going on. So we've got like a laundry list of things that we want to put together to make GameAnyone.com more appealing and possibly start making a little bit more money. So Mace Man and I have got to figure something out as far as what we want to code and things that need to be done. Eventually we want to add in the ability for users to upload just single videos without having to do complete walkthroughs. But there's hardware issues that need to be taken into account. So there's things that you may think, well, why the hell haven't they put it up there? Well, there's reasons why we haven't done what we've done yet. So.
Yeah, GameAnyone.com, I mean, like, the training wheels are just coming off. This site is about to explode, man, like a rocket. You think you've seen it all, you haven't seen nothing yet, baby.
Yeah, so, we've got ideas in the mix, and, be patient, it'll happen.
I do know Zach had some YouTube trouble in the past month.
Like the month before last, man. 2 videos I had uploaded 2 years ago that had a sound sample from some, I am ashamed to say it, but it was some like Japanese rock people from a video game I was playing. And then I log in to see like, oh, these 2 videos have been disabled, not muted, and like you have 2 strikes in your account, 1 more strike and you're deleted. It's like, what?
But
it's all crazy.
You fixed
but
the problem, right?
Yeah, I was able to just, send them an email and stuff, say what's up, and then eventually they took it off.
Well, that's good. That's good.
But that's the thing. Newer people who just start getting off that stuff, they don't have that luxury. So I believe new accounts and stuff made within the last year, like, the moment you mess up, they just say, shame on you and goodbye.
See, a lot of Let's Players are scared now of having their stuff taken off, deleted, their accounts banned.
Yeah, it's a shame. And like, it seems like the only way to get out there known is to either do something like, over the top or do something really new, which probably gets you deleted.
And it's really a shame because we do put in a lot of work, believe it or not, into making these walkthroughs. There's a lot of behind the scenes editing and stuff we have to do.
Hours of editing and rendering.
Rendering.
Like, so a lot of these bigger people have like thousands of videos on there, and just to lose that all.
I mean, we've all had our foot in the mud for copyrights and stuff like that. I haven't had anything on my account like official as far as black marks, but every now and then we get what they call content matches, which are basically like digital fingerprints of somebody's content. So when you upload your video and it gets processed, they read that, match it against this content database, and if any of it looks similar, they say, oh, you may have content that is owned by someone else, and they give you this warning.
That whole
and you have the ability to dispute it or leave it on there based on how, if it's valid or not. Sometimes they just misidentify.
The system's so broken. So a lot of times, man, I be getting flagged because part of my video may be like for a game, maybe a partner of YouTube loaded like a trailer or did a review of it. So it's like, oh, this has been flagged because such and such is copyrighted by this person. It's like, no, they don't own the copyright to this game.
So
Didn't that happen with you in Prototype or something like that? When
It happens to every game I upload. Usually, like the first part of every game I upload gets flagged.
So
Yeah,
Bull, have you had any trouble uploading videos, getting warnings at anything like that at all?
Yeah, I did when I did Grand Theft Auto 4. I had to hide all that shit, and well, I had to make a Game Anyone exclusive because there was no other way for me to publish it. And like the same with Boston the Damned, and that's the main reason why I've kind of stopped for now. Not like besides the fact that the game itself is pretty horrible. It was just if everything you upload a video, it'll either be an audio copyright or a video copyright, and half the time the video copyright's wrong, but if Take-Two finds that your account's suspended, so
Yeah.
it's just a case of
Yeah.
And speaking of, Game Anyone exclusives, I kind of had the same problem, Volv, with Desert Bus. I wanted to do longer times, and because of the new YouTube restrictions, most of us can only do 11-minute long videos, and also there was a lot of copyright infringement stuff, like songs, stuff like that, I put in the Desert Bus videos, so I knew there was just no way I could put that up onto on YouTube without me getting in trouble for it, so I had to take it down, or I had to use GameAnyone.com for that. Other than that, though, I haven't really run into any kind of problem because I usually just play old games from 10 years ago. I don't play many new games.
yeah, the copyright stuff expired on the old games.
But speaking of new games, why don't we talk about the summer releases, things that are heading our way this summer, guys.
I'll take it. Most summer's already gone, and over the summer there were a ton of new good games that came out for the major consoles. One that comes to my mind was Prototype that stood out to me. That was a fun game. Scorch, did
Still
you
is,
have
man.
It is still, it's good. Infamous.
Yeah,
I didn't get a chance to play that, but Scorch did.
Yeah, Infamous was a really good game, and it was one of those ones that I took a gamble on when I went and picked it up. I had heard that it was going to be good, but you always take that risk with new games. Is it going to suck ass, or is it going to be, kick ass awesome kind of thing? And that one actually did really surprise me with the, really tight controls, the good storyline, decent gameplay with good replay value, all that stuff. And I'm not one to actually pay a lot of attention to new game releases, because the way I've always functioned is when something comes out and I hear that it's good or I seem like I like it, I go check it out. I don't sit and wait for stuff.
Yeah, you don't sit there and read the hype.
Not really. I mean, so my list is quite short, but if you were to take games that had just come out that I had taken interest in, I would say Prototype, Infamous, Bionic Commando, even though it was slightly before summer. Call of Juarez Bound in Blood. I picked that one up and tried it. And then the only one that I could think of I'm waiting on that's going to be recent is Batman Arkham Asylum. I think will be a good one.
I would like to try that one too. That game looks really good.
Yeah,
And,
that's good.
something that grabs me is how they use a lot of the old school Batman the Animated Series voice actors from it. But other than that, it looks like a really great game.
Yeah, voice actors sometimes make or break the game too.
Yeah.
Let's see. Other games that came out recently over the summer was Overlord 2, Fuel, the Transformers game. I don't know if we mentioned that.
Have you had a
Ghostbusters.
Have you had a chance to play any of those?
I've played all of them.
Oh.
I make it my life's determination to play things for 5 minutes.
I would love to
good.
play those, but I haven't gotten around the time to do it. I really haven't played any summer releases.
Like I said, Ghostbusters came out. That was a interesting game.
I envy Zach's list.
Street Fighter 4 for the PC. It finally came out.
Zach lives in a cave.
Zach
The
lives in
Batcave.
Zach Cave.
that case.
I don't.
Playing Arkham Asylum.
I want to say Terminator Salvation came out in the summer. I can't remember when. I want to say that was a summer release too.
Did it suck though?
The next month, I know we got a bunch of games coming out, like the new Fallout 3 download content.
Yeah, we got a lot of
Oh,
August
yeah.
releases, don't
You
we?
gonna do that, Scorch? You're gonna. When is
Yeah.
Fallout 3 coming out, Scorch?
think
That's
they're-
a whole nother ball of wax right there. The Fallout 3 downloadable content, the game already was, in my mind, it was very well done for a company just picking up a franchise that had basically just fallen dead,
Yeah.
and revitalizing it, adding stuff in, changing some of the mechanics. Everyone was worried, is it going to be good? It's not like regular Fallout. They did a really good job, turning it into like Oblivion, as people call it, obviously.
Oblivion's guns.
Yeah, the downloadable content, they added for $10. They added a few hours worth of gameplay to each one. Gave you some new quests, new weapons, things that made it, a little worth spending, $10 a pop to extend the gameplay a little bit. But I get so many requests for Fallout 3 stuff. When am I going to do the next one? Am I going to do the next one? Can I put more up? You're not done yet. You missed a quest. You should have done this. It goes over the top. People don't realize how much tips I get, how many questions I get, and
I can imagine.
I'm sure you guys see it the same way in some of your other games, but
Oh yeah.
there's those ones that are just like the unicorn. You can't beat them. You can't win them all. You're never done.
So you guys have been playing some summer games. Volv, have you gotten in anything during this summer? Any new games? I know you've been busy.
Not really. I haven't really had the time to get anything. The last game that I played that was a recent release was Punch Out for the Wii, and I don't know. I felt like it stood up pretty fair, but I don't think it's something everyone will be attracted to. So
Yeah. There was a game release, G.I. Joe the movie video game coming out this August, but I don't think it's for the. I don't think it's for the PC.
No, it wouldn't surprise me if it's not.
Yeah, it's an EA game, I think. Which
Yeah.
They usually do PC ports, though. I mean,
I'm looking at the list and I don't see it.
yeah.
it may be a later release because that happened with Bionic Commando. Actually,
it could be
It
coming
didn't
out
come
soon.
Everything. Yeah.
Didn't come out on PC till this month.
I know they're making the new Wolfenstein's coming out next month.
So that'll be a good.
The new
It's been a
Wolfenstein. I don't know
long,
if you ever
long
played
time.
that. Yeah, it's been a long
You
time.
know what? I don't think I have ever played a Wolfenstein game before.
played Wolfenstein 3D. That's the only one I've played.
Which kind of brings me up to our next topic. What do you think, guys?
Popular games we never played.
Popular games we have never played. Popular games that we haven't played, we have never touched, and it might just make your jaw drop and make you
It might
say,
make you want to punch our babies.
how could you not have played that game? Dave, Scorch, Zach, what's the matter with you? How could you have never played that game? I don't
Well,
know,
my
man.
My list is actually pretty short as far as popular games that I never played because I play a lot of games at least once, but don't really get into them. A big one is Halo. A lot of people don't. They either really love Halo or they fucking hate.
How
No.
can you own an Xbox and not have Halos? Oh my god.
Sorry, that whole. No. I never got into Halo. I also.
don't blame you.
I never played WoW, World of Warcraft. Everyone that plays MMORPGs, they play WoW. I never played that. And I never did get into Call of Duty. Like, I've played them. I think they're good games, but I
Sports, man.
never went nuts on them.
Breaking my heart over here.
Sorry, man. Zach probably doesn't have any games he's never played. 'cause
Oh
he
man,
plays
you'd be surprised, man. My list is extremely long because I'm pretty much a solely PC guy.
Probably old games, though.
could be.
Zach is the current player.
I've never played the original Bionic Commando.
Ah.
Yeah, I should punch you in the face for that one.
I did not play most of the Resident Evil games.
Yeah, that's another one I didn't play either. I knew I'd forget them too.
I'm trying not to steal Dave's games. We had a similar list earlier.
Oh, I think just about all of mine have been taken already.
Oh, that's the case. I have not played the Metal Gear Solid series. that series is just not my type of game.
Maybe
I
Same
never
with
the
played.
Splinter Cell.
I never
Same with
played the
Splinter Cell.
original Metal Gears, but I've played Metal
Yeah.
Gear Solid through 4.
Splinter Cell as well. I didn't really care for Splinter Cell either. The
There
stealth.
was only a couple of games in that franchise that were worth playing anyway.
What about you, Volv? Up there in Scotland, what haven't you gotten your hands on yet? Any popular series?
I've never played a Medal of Honor in my entire life. And the only type of war game I've actually played is Call of Duty 4, but even then I haven't played the rest of that series. Scorch already said about I've only ever played Halo on multiplayer. I've never played a game on campaign because everyone just seems to have these mixed opinions, and it's very off-putting, especially with the amount of fanboys and how immature they can be. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and Zach,
Um,
you know how you noticed that, or you mentioned that, how can you have an Xbox and not own Halo?
That
I
was
do
a joke,
have an-
man.
I have an
That's-
unopened copy of Halo 2 that I got for $5 at school.
Oh, there you go. You have a
What's up?
copy of Halo. That's all that matters. I was always under the impression if you have an Xbox or a 360, you have to have a copy of Halo lying around.
my 360 came with Halo 3, but I've never played it. It's still sitting here sealed.
Zach, you mentioned to me earlier that you had a bunch of PlayStation 2 games lying around that you've bought at GameStop that you haven't even bothered playing.
Yeah, I'd like whenever I go to GameStop or something, I look in like the little bargain bin at the $2 or $3 games. I'll pick them up, but I never actually play them.
Were there any popular titles in there?
Oh god, that's a good question. I'd tell you, but my treasure chest of goodness is locked up right now.
Well, if they're sold for $3, how good can they be?
Oh, they're awesome games. I know. I think one of them's called like Gunbrave or not Gungrave, but it's like a mech game. It had like a little guy on the cover. The cover's all holographic. and
Mecha
stuff.
Mace Man?
Mecha Mace.
Doesn't
Mecha
do
Mace
anything
Man.
for me, Zach. I think you're shooting blanks
Shooting
on that one.
blanks. Shooting blanks. Ninja Assault. You ever play that?
Ninja Assault?
No.
No, I have not.
They're $3 because nobody but Zach's ever heard of them.
They're old. They're older PlayStation 2 games, but they're good games, man. Every one of them that I have not played.
Good times.
Yeah, but basically, you guys took care of the list for me. I mean, I haven't played any of the Metal Gear Solid games. I haven't owned an Xbox, so of course I haven't played Halo, Call of Duty, World of Warcraft. I haven't played those. I haven't played any of the series.
Well, maybe you can touch on the fact that you haven't gone next gen on console yet, have you?
Not really, man. I usually do all my playing at my buddy's house.
Yeah. So there's some people that just haven't even bothered to pick up the consoles.
And there was
rightly so because they're expensive now. But
there
when
was
you
an-
got a PC, who needs it, right?
There was an old
Yeah.
RPG series on the Sega Genesis I never played. That was
Fantasy Star.
that was semi-popular. It was Sega Genesis and I think maybe Sega CD. It was the Lunar RPG series.
Oh, you
Oh.
kidding me?
Remember them?
I have one of them, the Silver Star Story Complete on
Silver
PlayStation
Star
1.
Story. That was one of
never-
the first games for the Sega.
Yeah, man. I was a Nintendo boy. My friend had the Sega Genesis,
Yeah,
and
that's
he wasn't
what
into
happened with me.
RPGs. So I'd be playing Final Fantasy. Lunar would be on the Sega Genesis, and I never played them.
Lunar and Shining Force, man. That was my two favorite RPGs. for the Sega.
Maybe I'll do a gamer play of a couple of those games someday in the future. I've always wanted to try Lunar.
You should.
I mean, are there any of those games that you mentioned that you would like to play?
No, not really.
You don't want to play Metal Gear Solid or Call of Duty?
I would
played
highly
Call of
recommend
Duty.
that you get into Metal Gear Solid if you can stomach the actual gameplay.
I
as
played
opposed
the
to
first
story.
one, and it was just not for me. That whole stealth genre, it's just like, I'm gonna pass on that. I'm more
They-
like, I'm
yeah,
more
they
like,
just
I'm just
improved
gonna go in there Rambo.
They've improved the ability for you to be able to kind of turn yourself into a tank with some of the later Metal Gear Solids. I mean, it's always going to be, stealth, espionage, action is their, key motto for that game. So being stealthy is obviously the, preferred method of, getting through each mission and whatnot. But like Metal Gear Solid 4, you could almost turn yourself into a tank. Just load yourself up with an AK and tear through a bunch of enemies, cover when you need help, and there you go.
After seeing your or being a part, I should say, of your Infamous walkthrough, I kind of would like to play that game. It looks pretty badass, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that one's only on the PS3, and you
Yeah.
know, not many people have access to that type of money to get a
Hey,
console like
you
that.
know what?
But
Play Prototype for the PC, Dave.
Prototype.
that's another thing that I don't know if we should get into now. But the Prototype versus Infamous thing,
They're both
It-
good games. What's the
both
problem?
good games, different stories. They play completely differently. The only reason everyone picks up on it is because you can climb buildings and you can beat the shit out of people. It's
You know what?
you know
They should just both compare it to Spider-Man the game.
Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of people on the internet, Scorch, that they always like to compare the Prototype and Infamous series, and
Yeah.
and more importantly, those two main characters, the two heroes.
Alex Mercer and Cole McGrath. Everyone's
Alex
like,
and Cole.
who would win? Well,
Who would win in a
so-and-so would
fight?
eat the other one. It's like, does it matter?
10
It's
rounds, baby. 10 rounds, one-on-one. No
It's like
weapons.
what we grew up with, Dave.
Fist
like,
against fist.
It's like what all of us grew up with, Mario and Sonic. It's that same thing, but happens over and over and over again in this generation with Anthem, but similar.
Dude, Sonic was so much better than Mario.
Whoa.
We also didn't
Uh-oh.
have the internet to
You see,
post
you
this
see?
crap on either.
Volv is right. Zach is stirring up some past anger in me right now.
Yeah, that's the stuff you would read about, like people, like letters to the magazines. 'Cause we didn't have the internet in those
Yeah.
days. It was on the schoolyard. You squared off with your buddies at recess because Mario beats Sonic.
There's
no way.
no
you can't-
way that Sonic beats Mario,
Dude,
man.
my Charmander
Exactly.
so beats
What
your
are you
Pikachu.
talking about?
And they had Game Pro versus Nintendo Power. That's what magazine you subscribe to. I mean, those were the types of arguments that
PC game.
we had in our day.
PC magazine.
Yeah, not a lot of people were into the PC magazines back in the day. I mean,
No.
I think only Dave and I can really speak for those times because, we're probably some of the
Dude, I
oldest
grew up on that
ones.
stuff. My dad subscribed to that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the magazines. I would have a subscription of GamePro magazine, and I had that for about several years. It was pretty good. I liked it, but I didn't get Nintendo Power. Not really.
Yeah, I've got Nintendo Power ever since like 1990.
That's awesome.
I know.
Do you still have the collection?
I've got.
The collection of mags?
I missed like the first year, but I went back on eBay and I bought like the ones that I was missing. So I have like every single issue, except for a couple that were in the middle somewhere. But yeah, I've got an impressive collection of that. And they're all really worn to shit because I used to take them to school and like read them and share them with friends and stuff.
Mm,
So like a bunch of them are missing covers and things like that.
yeah. But we've been talking a lot of old school games and how we miss those titles, the classics, all that kind of stuff. And nowadays, they could remake them or launch sequels to them if they wanted to, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what games or sequels would you like to see? A game that hasn't been around for a long time, but was kind of popular for the Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis, and they brought it back. What would you like to see brought back, Zach?
I would like to see not a 3D, but like an updated graphic version of like the original Sonic games.
Like a remade Sonic
Remade Sonic, like they did with
Sonic
like
2.
Bionic Commando, Rearmed and stuff, that kind of stuff.
In the
No,
same
nice
style.
high def graphics, but on like the 2D
a 2D.
world you love.
Capcom's
Like the
already
new
done
Mario
that
game.
twice. They
What
did
is-
it with Mega Man 9.
Mega Man 9, huh? Yeah. That's right.
So they've got their handle on that, And one thing that I always thought, because Mega Man's one of those games that had a million spin-offs and most of them suck. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get fanboy flame for that, but
Dude, most of them did suck, man.
they did. But what I would think would be really good for a remake is a 3D version of Mega Man that would go on the Wii, similar to Metroid Prime. If they did it like Metroid Prime, I would fucking play a Mega Man remake. I think that would be awesome.
But any other ideas, Zach, you'd like to see? Maybe games, from companies that have also been extinct. Or any
Extinct
other sequels you have in mind?
Good sequels, man.
We can go to Scorch.
Yeah, go to Scorch Evolve.
Hmm.
You were talking earlier about some Scorch, but you have anything else in mind?
I don't really have anything that I'm hoping for as far as sequels. I mean, I really like the whole remake, do the retro, bring it back thing. You know, it's like games like Secret of Mana and Donkey Kong
Yeah.
Country, and even Star Fox if they don't turn it into like a kiddie comic type thing. You know,
Yeah.
that's one
What
of those
about
ones
Valve?
that's kind of tough.
Well, Scorch mentioned too that I want to see redone, but Square can abandon Secret of Mana, and well, Miyamoto isn't the biggest fan of Donkey Kong Country, so I highly doubt Nintendo's gonna pull another one out anytime soon. So,
There you go.
Um,
Square Enix.
I would kind of like to see Rare put out, or at least Nintendo put out a remake of GoldenEye. Remember GoldenEye for the N64? So,
Hmm. One of the
it was-
best shooters that you could get.
Yep, pretty much. But well, it's one of those games that was made by companies that were together and now they aren't together. So Nintendo and Rare made that game and now it's not there. So well, Rare is with Microsoft now and Nintendo does their own thing and makes their own games still. So
Well, they could pull a Bethesda and take up what Interplay used to do with Fallout. I mean, it's possible.
it is, but no, it's the company's choice at the end of the day.
You know what I think needs to be made again, and this is awesome, is those games that use Legos, like Lego Star Wars, Lego Indiana Jones, Lego
Yes.
Batman. They can continue to make more of those. Those are, if you never played one, do yourself a favor
Fun
and do
as
it.
hell.
Fun as hell. Even if you don't even record, like just for the shits, it's
Dude.
awesome.
They look like kiddie games, man, but they are fun.
They are. They are.
But Zach, did anything else come back to you? Any-
Yeah, that he was mentioning Square Enix. I would love to see a next-gen version of remake of Chrono Trigger.
Chrono Trigger.
One of my utmost top 10 games.
Now, would the graphics be updated, like in the 3D?
Yeah, it's just an updated version of it. I don't know about 3D, but like, high definition. But
I
3D
wouldn't
version
mind
could
seeing
be
a new
nice.
game. You know, like they did with Chrono Cross. They loosely based it on Chrono Trigger, something like that, but with the same characters or something. You know?
Yeah,
Like they do with all the Zelda games.
yeah, I see what you mean. But
Timeline.
But for me, man, like, I would like to see another Lufia game. Recently, I've been playing a couple of them, and I forgot how great that series was, especially Lufia 2, Rise of the Sinistrals. I thought that was a great game, but the company that made them went out of business. But interestingly enough, Square Enix bought the rights to their games. So if Square wanted to, they could release a new Lufia game. They could make another RPG. I don't know why they wouldn't want to do that. I think it'd be a pretty good idea.
Yeah, that was another series I never played.
Lufia?
Yeah.
Yeah, I never played Lufia.
Yeah, it's a
think
little
I-
underrated and underheard,
Yeah, that happens.
And Lufia 2 came out in 1995. What system were you guys playing in 95?
Still the Super Nintendo. Some of us had moved to PS1 though. It
Yeah,
was
exactly.
I want to say I was playing the Sega CD.
My parents refused to buy me a PlayStation 1 because they didn't think it would last, and they're like, they're just trying to make money. It's gonna falter, and we're not gonna waste blah blah blah. So I never got one until probably '98.
But,
I never got one.
Yeah, I picked up a PlayStation 1 like right away when it was released. It was expensive as hell though.
Yeah.
Birthday.
I never bought one. My PlayStation 1 was my PS2 that I got many years after it was released.
But for me personally, I would also like to see another Toe Jam and Earl game released. It was a Sega Genesis title back in the old days. They made a sequel for the Genesis, and actually, several years later, there was a third Toe Jam and Earl game released for the Xbox, which I never played, and I don't think it took off. But I love that game. I used to play it at my friend's house. Like I said, he had the Sega Genesis, and we would just spend hours and hours playing that baby. It was awesome.
Man, those were the days where you could just spend hours and hours fucking around with your friends playing games and just, like, you have pizza parties, sleepovers,
Oh yeah.
all that good stuff.
But I mean, like, the fighting games too. The fighting games aren't what they used to be. I mean, Street Fighter 4, I think, did a good job, but there was also the fighting beat 'em up games like Final Fight and Streets of Rage.
Yeah, those
Now,
were
like,
good.
those really need to be taken back. Those were just classic games.
I think the first one that a lot of us noticed was Turtles 2.
Right.
First in the arcade and then in the NES. They actually did a really good job, bringing that, from the horrible abomination that was Turtles 1,
Yeah, the Turtles games, I was going to hit on that too. Like, I hear that they are re-releasing an updated version of Turtles 4, and I think another Turtles game, which was a previous release that came out not too long ago.
And there's been some attempts to bring those back too, but like the ones that were spawned off the new cartoon maybe about 5 years ago, those ones failed horribly because it was just terrible animation. It was more anime than anything. And then they tried to redo it again when they redid the movie. And they got a little bit better, but they're still not the same,
I wish they could just release another Turtles in Time Part 2 game, where everything's the same, but the levels are different, the enemies are different, and, they mix it up a little. It's not
And they
complicated.
bring Cam Clark back to voice Leonardo because
Cam Clark.
it's not the same.
He was also He-Man
Exactly.
in the later episodes.
You know what? I think we need to move on to the next subject.
And that would be what, Zach? Favorite games? Our
No,
favorite games of all time?
favorite games.
All
I
right.
guess, yeah.
Well, personally,
Quickly, a small list.
I mean, I could go on, but like favorites, what would be a favorite game? I mean, I love the
If
Final
you had to
Fantasy
pick a
series
handful, if you were stranded on an island by yourself, what would be the games you would take
with a
you?
television connected to, wires
Whatever
that go under
system,
the water,
yeah.
and the wires like connect to the land, so I would have
If
electricity.
everybody around you was dead from an infectious disease and you're the last human alive, what games would
Kind
you
of
play?
like a Twilight Zone episode, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, the Final Fantasy series is my all-time favorite. I love the Final Fantasy series. Number 4, number 6, number 7, and hell, I'll be generous. I'll throw 10 in there too.
What? No 8?
Oh no 8. But
Yeah, they had a few bombs in that series.
and of course,
Dave was one of them.
the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games for the Nintendo and Super Nintendo, and even Sega Genesis. Those were a lot of fun to always play with your childhood buddies. And Streets of Rage, that kind of stuff, Final Fight, those games, the beat 'em ups. And another couple of other RPGs that stood out on their own, like Chrono Trigger. That was, who did not enjoy that game? That was just fun as hell. Mario
You have no soul if you
RPG.
didn't.
Mario RPG, and of course the Mario games, right? Like
The
Mario
originals?
64, Mario 3. Mario 3 was such a huge deal when it was released, but I don't know if you call that a short list or a long list, Zach. Why don't you tell me yours?
Oh, man. It have to be all the Zelda games from, like, the older systems, like the N64 and back. Those were the shits. And
Still are.
Yeah.
Still are. The Aliens vs. Predator games for the PC. Favorite single-player games around. Call of Duty. I'm a softie for those.
He is a softie and has a Woody.
Yeah. Those are the games I would say. Yeah, those are my favorite
Let's see.
games.
I think Dave covered most of what I would have said. I mean, basically any game made by SquareSoft before they merged with Square Enix was actually a good game. But my favorite all-time game, I think, hands down, would be Secret of Mana, Secret of Evermore. Those types of games I really got into, and I play them all the time still. And for the PC, I got into PC gaming. Like, I didn't start when I was young, but the Command & Conquer series was a really good game series, I suppose. Yeah, one of the first I ever played, and it was really good. Let's see, what else did I play? Mega Man 2 was a really good one. I like Mega Man 2. And, of course, Link to the Past.
Link to the Past, amazing
I mean,
game.
everyone would say that.
What about any of the Zeldas on the Nintendo 64?
I prefer. Those.
I liked Ocarina of Time, but I mean, when the Zelda games started getting so big to the point where you couldn't remember where shit was, I started falling out of it. That's why Metroid Prime was so hard to get into. It was a really good game, really good set of games, but it was so hard to find stuff that, you got discouraged. Metroid Prime 3 was really good because they gave you the ability to, upgrade yourself to the point where you could track the shit down if you wanted to find them. You didn't need to, go download a map and all that stuff, so...
Yeah, you mentioned Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Wow, I totally forgot about that one. Hold on, Dave is adding that to his list too, man.
Hey,
that
I put
game
that
was
on my
awesome.
list, man.
There's so many
you said
games you
N64
forget.
and back, we just assumed.
In 64 and back. What came before the 64?
What about you,
Nintendo?
Volv?
What, dude?
Where does the
Sorry.
list start and stop with you, Volv? Of your favorite
it starts
games?
at Super Nintendo, but it probably ends around the end generation of the 64. I grew up with Secret Mana and Super Mario Bros. All Stars. You know how it came out in that huge cartridge? Well, all 5 of the games came in that one cartridge or something.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. I grew up with that and just a few more games like Star Fox, Pilot Wars and stuff on N64 and Super Mario 64 and basically Zelda and A Link to the Past and the 2 Zelda games on N64 as well. A lot of stuff that pretty much everyone's always played and it's just basically every kind of popular thing that was around at the time. That's what I played and grew up with when I was young, and that's just kind of the way it is for me. But back then, it was the case that if you knew something was going to be good when you actually did play it, or even look at it. But now, you're not too sure when you actually go pick up a game, because developers seem to half-ass themselves nowadays compared to what they did back then.
They can have a pretty ass, but they have no personality to it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's all about graphics nowadays. It's not about the gameplay, so...
I want to add something to my list I totally forgot, and that's the original Sonic games for the Sega Genesis. 1 through 3, Knuckles and the CD. Those little
Yeah.
place in my heart.
There's another one that goes on the favorites that should also be on that needs a sequel that doesn't suck ass is Pilot Wings, man. Did you ever play Pilot Wings? That game was the shit on Super Nintendo, but suck ass on the 64.
Yeah,
They need to come back with that one.
Yeah, but do you have any other favorite games, or how does the list go for you?
what do you mean?
Favorite games that if everybody die.
Well, I mean, almost favorite, semi-favorite, stuff like that.
Ocarina of
Counter-Strike,
Time,
Source.
probably. Ocarina of Time, Secret Mana, and
Oh yeah, Secret of Mana.
Burnout.
Spyro 3 or Spyro 2, I guess.
And Secret of Mana, that had some great underrated music.
Yeah, and the soundtrack in Secret Mana is awesome. Everyone should check it. And just try Secret Mana and don't discourage it until you actually get to the point where you have all 3 characters.
Which
man.
kind of leads me to my next topic. Video game soundtracks, guys. What are your faves? What's your favorite game soundtracks?
The
Game
Legend of
music
Zelda
makes or breaks
games.
that.
The 64. Both of the games, hands down. Best soundtracks.
The Zelda game, Zach?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the 2
both
for the
of them.
64 and the 2 Sonic games, Sonic 2 and CD. That's all ones I know.
Sonic 2 has an amazing soundtrack.
Yeah, it
It's
does.
I'm one of those people that I can never remember the music. I just know I like it when I hear it, sort of thing. So it's hard to say what my favorites are.
I know what
But,
that song is.
I pulled out a few that I could remember when trying to compile this list, and that's the theme for Dave from Maniac Mansion on the NES. I don't know why, I just love that tune. It's awesome. The Moon theme for DuckTales on the NES. Yeah, that's some good 8-bit music right there. Pretty much everything in Secret of Mana, all of that was music. Like Dave said, it was really people just didn't pick up on it. Some people
Dr.
didn't.
Wiley's theme.
Yeah, I had that on
Intro.
the list. Mega Man 2.
Banana. Yeah, man. Amazing
Wily
song.
1 for Mega Man 2. Chrono Trigger's music, all good.
Oh, Chrono Trigger. 600 AD, man.
the Gilgamesh battle from Final Fantasy V.
Oh yeah, that one was really great.
Yeah, some
And
people aren't
a lot of
recognize
us
that.
Americans never heard that because Final Fantasy V wasn't released here until so much later.
Right. Yeah. And the last one I have on my list is Castlevania Bloody Tears. Particularly Castlevania 4 for Super Nintendo, that version. Good stuff.
But my list, I would say I kind of have some oddballs in there. Probably a couple games that people haven't really ever even played. I can say, games like Final Fantasy series. Who wouldn't say Final Fantasy? There's just too much to cover in that. I loved the soundtrack from Final Fantasy IV when I was a kid, and then 7 came out and blew my mind. And I like a lot of what 10 did. However, because Nobuo Uematsu wasn't involved as much anymore, that was really disappointing. I was also really surprised with how good Lufia 2's soundtrack was, because it wasn't as a popular RPG, but I thought there was a lot of great stuff in there. And of course, Zach and Scorch said, Secret of Mana, Chrono Trigger, those games, Squaresoft always did a lot of great work.
They
And
do have
then,
a lot of music.
You can always name your classics with your favorite themes, like the Sonics and Marios. But a
Dude,
couple of
those-
oddball games. I always liked the music from Discworld, which was a PlayStation game. It's very popular over in the UK. The people across the ponds might know a little bit about that. And there was this, I actually did a game replay of Beast Wars Transmetals, which was for the PlayStation. And it wasn't the most popular game at all, especially not with people who weren't Transformer fans. But I thought they did a kind of a cool job with the guitar stuff and all the things in there they threw in. And last but not least, one I can think of off the top of my head right now would be Twisted Metal, man. The Twisted Metal series on the PlayStation just had some of the most awesome beats and just crazy tunes. They would play that shit and you would want to go out in your car. You'd want to get in your car, drive down the street, and you'd be like pressing your horn or something, hoping that the machine guns would come out and fire the oncoming traffic, because that game just jacked you up, man. The music was great.
No,
Dave, I
have
thought of
an
another
oddball.
one you could add to your list.
What's
A
that?
couple of them, actually. It's the Turtles in Time.
All right, the Turtles in Time soundtrack.
Turtles in Time soundtrack was awesome for the Super Nintendo. And then not the remake versions of them, but like the original Power Rangers theme, however lame that sounds, that actually had some
Dude,
pretty good music.
Dude, Power Rangers, nothing wrong with the Power Rangers theme, man.
Exactly. None of that Power Rangers, whatever the new ones are.
Dude,
Fucking-
I watched the original Power Rangers show back in the
Yeah,
day.
yes, I admit it that too. I watched.
I even watched a couple of the cheesy ones where like they're in cars and shit.
yeah.
But what about you,
Dirtiness
Volv?
comes out.
I've basically already given my opinions of soundtrack advice, and like underrated games, I can't really seem to come up with.
But you didn't like forget about any underrated kind of type games.
I did.
None's coming to my head in the moment, but it's just that like when it comes to underrated games, you don't automatically think of them first. It's always the case that they think the more popular ones are the ones they remember more clearly. However, I don't know if everyone actually remembers Diddy Kong Racing, but that game had an amazing soundtrack for like the late '90s. So
But you had a couple more, Zach?
Yeah. I'm not. I'm going to start sounding like a Sega fanboy here by naming these Sega games, but Cue Ball, one of my all-time favorite pinball games, had a phenomenal soundtrack to it that I still listen to this day.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. And you don't sound like a Sega fanboy to me.
I
Yet.
never owned Super Nintendo or an NES.
Blade Runner had good music for the PC, and it was a movie back in 1982. That was
It's a good movie.
stuff.
Yeah, but there is just so much music out there. And, video games have come a long way from music. It started off, like, really primitive, and now here we have, like, full orchestra and just crazy, kind of soundtracks on these new released games. And I think it's kind of good and bad in a way. I think, video games have kind of lost a little bit of that video game music magic.
Yeah, it is. It's hit and miss. And then nowadays, you're just playing like ambient noise
That's
or
true.
like mainstream rock music and stuff.
Yeah, and then it ends up getting you suspended when you upload footage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Video games with lyrics is a big no-no.
Fallout 3 is one of them. They've
It's a-
got all kinds of licensed music in there.
Touchy,
I got my
touchy.
first part muted because of that song at the opening thing, set
Yeah,
the world on fire.
They've got an ad. They've got an ad on a couple of mine.
Well,
Uh,
what game did they mute on you, Zach?
Fallout 3. 'Cause
Fallout
they-
3,
The,
you know?
the opening thing before the first cutscene had like some old song.
I have
The
not
Ink
played that
Spots.
game. I would
Yeah,
like
there's
to
a
though.
popular series Dave never played.
I would like to play that like off the clock, when I'm not recording or doing anything, which kind of brings me up to my next topic, guys. What are games we like to play when we're not actually recording? Which I also kind of would call kind of recording / work, because it's a lot of work to record and upload these things. So what do you do in your downtime, guys?
Play Counter-Strike Source.
Yeah. I don't actually have a lot of time to play games when I'm not recording because I have a full-time job and, I'm doing a lot of work for the site, and the stuff that I'm recording takes, such a long time that, I really don't play a lot when I'm not recording. But I played through the evil side on Infamous, basically the whole game off the clock. And then I've been playing Star Ocean, the new Xbox 360 release, and I've been trying to brush up on my Ninja Gaiden 2 skills.
Oh yeah, you've been telling me that game has been driving you crazy, and it's hard as balls.
Hard as balls. You
But,
gotta ease into it. You
you
gotta
didn't
make
have
it softer.
You didn't have a long list, did you, Zach?
I play multiplayer games if I'm not recording. Something like Call of Duty 4, Counter-Strike, and a little bit of Warcraft 3. That's about it.
I gotta say, I'm a bit with Scorch here. I don't have time. I mean, if I'm gonna be playing video games, it's gonna be doing my gamer play walkthrough stuff. That's the video games I'm playing. So
Right.
I haven't really been playing anything for fun, just for me, without a microphone in front of my face. Other than I have the NHL 2009 PC version of the game, which I actually haven't even been playing that since probably hockey season has ended a couple months back. I haven't even been playing that, but if I could get my hands on the new Transformers game, the Ghostbusters, Batman Arkham Asylum, I would like to play that in my downtime. That'd be a lot of fun. Hopefully I can do that, and then maybe I can do some gamer plays on that stuff too. But other than that,
And
man,
it all
it's
comes
been
back
nothing.
to the camera.
It's been nothing for me. I've been playing nothing on my own.
What about you, Volv?
I'm pretty much the same. I mean, I work part-time after college, and basically I've got no time to, do anything other than if I want to, record anything, all I get is, a couple hours a day, basically, and I just want to sit down and do nothing for that time because I'm so stressed out with anything else around me, so it's just a case of I've got no time to do anything. But when I actually do record, I record about 20 parts, and then there's nothing to do with any other sort of time. I just use all of the time I have there and then to record, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's 1 day a week. But I'll upload partially every now and again. But nobody should ever really expect too much out of us when it comes to recording. But in our own personal time, it's just a case of we'll do whatever we want because, like you said, every human doesn't have as much free time as what they want. Everyone has to.
If we were younger, maybe we could bring you more. But as you get older, it becomes just hard to have a lot of free time, downtime, just to mess around with video games. It's really too bad. I miss it, man.
I guess
I know.
I'm just lucky then. So I'm just go to college full time and
Oh, you are lucky.
hang out and play games.
You are lucky.
Yeah.
Hang out with my friends.
90% of our fan base is 15-year-old males. It's like they're still in school. They don't have jobs. You don't got shit to worry about.
Oh,
You don't got a mortgage to pay. You don't have jobs. You
Yeah.
don't have girlfriends, or maybe you do. I don't know. It's no families to take care of. It's like, those were the days. Stay young while you can.
Stay young while you can, guys. Because
For the love of God, cherish it.
Be
cherish
nice
it.
to your parents. You know,
Yeah.
be the good child so you can mooch off of them 2 years after you're 18.
But yeah, man.
Zach points to self on that one.
Favorite games, game music, games we just love to play, popular games that we've never played. There's just so much out there, so little time to do it. I don't know, guys. What do you think? Do you have any kind of closing comments for this podcast, our second podcast? Have any final thoughts on video games and where we're going, where video games are going, where the site's going to go, GameAnyone.com? What do you think?
Condoms.
Yeah.
Game Anyone
yeah.
condoms?
Game Anyone Condom.
No, that was my
Tell
idea.
your friends about GameAnyone.com.
That was
buy
my
a
idea.
t-shirt.
Mace Man is giving me the gross.
You
know what I'm talking about?
Gotta contain that herpes, man.
Nah, I can't really think of anything specific,
But
I just say go to the podcast forum and ask your questions. Think about
Yeah.
stuff that you'd want us to cover.
yeah, that's right.
It's not all gonna be Dave's genius here. We need your input too.
Yeah. We would appreciate it if you go to the Game Anyone podcast forum. We would like to take your questions. We actually did take your questions, and we put a couple into this second podcast. We actually did do that, and we would like to maybe incorporate that more and more as the podcasts go on, and we can think of new ideas and new things to talk about.
That sounds very sexual.
Very sexual indeed.
But yeah, we hope you give us our questions. We had a couple of comments about maybe adding video game music to the background of our podcast, and I'm sure by now at the end of it, you've been listening to it this whole time, and we hope it sounds good. We did a couple of tests, of course, and give us your feedback on that, whether you like it or not, whether you would like to listen to certain video game soundtracks and certain games, and what you think sounds good, what you think doesn't sound good, man. So hopefully,
Fabulous.
Well
give us your
said.
feedback. So what do you think, guys?
Dave
Volvagia,
for President 2012.
Volvagia, what do you say, man?
Have a good day because I'm a bit done.
Volvagia is really drunk right now. He had about 4 glasses of wine. Right, Volv?
Non-alcoholic wine.
Oh yeah, totally, I did.
All right, Zach, what do you
It's been
think?
a long day, so.
Closing comments, final thoughts, waving goodbye?
I'm waving goodbye, man.
For most of you who've actually want to get around to what we've been talking about with getting suspended and stuff off of YouTube and voicing everything you got, the Game Anyone Director system is always there. We only ask for a few things. If you feel like you gotta find a way to keep your stuff on somewhere at least, and then direct your subscribers there when they find you again, then go for Game Anyone Directorship. It's only 50 watermark videos, but there's a catch for that. You gotta keep watermarking. You can't just get a prize and then leave us in the dust. So you gotta keep on doing it. So keep trying.
All right.
I'll
Thank you,
add
Bo.
on to that. Here's 3 tips to make it good. No music, no cutscenes, and do commentary. You should be A-OK when it comes to doing walkthroughs.
Well,
yeah,
that'll keep you from
quality
getting
over-
suspended.
Yeah, keep you from getting suspended.
Quality over quantity.
All right. So as my final remarks, straight from the horse's mouth, as far as the criteria that we look for when applying for directors, is obviously HD quality, and there's lots of tutorials in our tutorial section for how
No
to get.
camera.
Yeah, no cameras unless you're doing a handheld. Then it better be really good.
No 480p.
Yeah. So, there's tutorials for getting to good HD. Obviously, if you provide commentary, that's a big plus. We always could use people who do commentary in their walkthroughs. And game choice is a big one, especially if you don't do commentary, because there's, Mace Man has just developed a script that goes and loaded 12,000 plus new games to our site. So, there's a lot of unfulfilled walkthroughs out there that we need people like you to do. So, pick up decent games that the site doesn't have. We really pick up on that. You know, it's
Good
something
point.
we look for. You know, obviously, if you've been doing it a while, it helps. But you know, keep at it. Just keep at it.
All right, well, thank
We love you guys,
Scorch.
man.
I also agree with Scorch. You know, Maceman and GameAnyone.com are always on the lookout for new directors who are smart, creative, do good quality work. Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
We hope to hear from you and your comments. I would also like to make a quick note on Razalyn, GameAnyone.com director, and say thank you. We have had a couple of her remixed video games soundtracks playing in the background, so thank you for allowing those to be featured here, and I hope you've all enjoyed listening to a couple of them. So I want to say thank you to that. Well, guys, I think we should wrap it up. For GameAnyone.com, second podcast, I'm Dave the Usher with Scorch82, Shadow Zach, Volvagia. We'll see you guys next time for podcast number 3. We're looking forward to it. Hope you are too. Alrighty then, say goodbye, guys.
Goodbye.
Bye.
We are
Goodbye.
out.